Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. 45 days away.
It's getting close, fellas. It's getting close.
Kickoff. So close. So I know what hotel the Raiders will be staying at in Los Angeles week 1 when they come to town to play the Chargers.
And for only $9.99.
Subscribe to my OnlyFans, and I'll reveal everything.
Yeah.
By everything, I mean the hotel with the Raiders.
Yeah, that's all I want you to reveal. I don't want to.
No,
I don't want anything else revealed.
Hey, for 99 cents a month, you get everything, and I mean everything.
Yeah,
what if I started an OnlyFans? What would I put on an OnlyFans?
I don't know, dude. Your butthole, maybe your feet. I don't know.
I feel like feet's probably like, because I feel like the foot fetish people have a lot of disposable income. Like, they're small, but they're a fierce fan base.
The problem is, like, if you're gonna you have to get clientele. Like, you can't just be a random foot person online. Like, you have to be somebody.
But maybe I have just the best feet for foot fetish people.
It's not true. It's not true. My feet are way better than yours.
How do you know? What do foot fetish people look for in feet? Is it like how dudes look for chicks? Like, some like big asses, big tits, some like, or is it they're just like a very objectively hot foot that foot fetish people are?
Yeah, it's probably that. Probably.
It's probably then how do you know you have better feet than me? So if you're gonna say you have sexier foot fetishy feet than me, I
have nicer looking feet than yours. I'm gonna send you a picture
foot fetish people.
Look, let's let the freaking the listeners decide.
Let's do a side by side shot of our feet.
Side by side. Don't even tell them whose foot it is. Just put A and foot B.
How many strokes necessary while viewing this?
No. You see, now you're making it way gay. I'm just talking about foot fetish. No one's talking about no one's asshole through the car wash.
Do you watch House of Dragons?
No, I do not.
No. Well, there's this like really creepy dude, but he's like the czar of whispers. Like, he just knows all the rumors and knows how to manipulate people, and he's kind of like, he has like a limp, like is like deformed at birth. His right leg doesn't work. And like the queen uses him, and how she pays him is the queen lets this dude jerk off to her feet. That's like her like payment for her like skills.
You explaining that show is now the gayest thing you've said today.
I would say the gayest thing I've said today is how much I like that song, Shut Up and Dance With Me. Shut up and dance with me. Easily the gayest thing about me. I can line up 17 dicks in a row, suck all of them, and that would not be as gay as how much as I like that song. And every time it comes on at a wedding, just shaking my tail feathers. Song's great.
You've reached a new high.
Because we're 45 days away from Raiders kickoff, that means we are 0 days away of training camp. It is underway in Costa Mesa, Orange County, California. We're recording this Wednesday night. The rookies reported yesterday. Veterans reported today. They're here, baby. They did some 11 on 11s. Antonio Pierce talked yesterday at the presser. Davante, Gardner, Aidan, and Max, I think, spoke today at the presser. But there are silver and black cleats on, turf under their feet happening. It's really here. Football season.
So nice.
A football-like substance is happening right now in Raiderville.
Dude, this is going to be so fun. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this season. We could make a deep run in the playoffs, or we can just fall flat on our faces.
Or we could get a top 3 draft pick.
Yeah, and either way, I'm just excited. I'm just more excited because of the buzz going around and like just the attitude in the locker room. I'm super pumped.
So if you had to guess, who has the first fight on the field in training camp, right? Like things start getting heated.
Probably Max and a guard.
I was just going to say Max and Jackson Powers Johnson, but we'll get to it in a bit. He's on the physically unable to play list to start the season. Shoulder issue. I was like, that would have been my first guess because JPJ was like an all-state wrestler. He's like notorious for his like mean attitude, and he's going to want to be like, give me the toughest guy on this team on the other side of the ball and let me try. And Max is just like, oh fuck yes, Rook, bring it. I spar UFC middleweight champion Sean Strickland without a mouthpiece. Think I'm not gonna take on this rookie? Let's go.
Yeah, man, that'd be a good fight.
Be awesome. I want to say I got Max because I always say like savvy beats youth, but an all-state wrestler.
Don't underestimate just a crazy dude that likes to fight.
Crazy beats big. Ask any dad with sons. I'll tell you, crazy beats big every time.
There's like little pockets. There's little pockets in the country that if someone tells you they're from there, it's like, all right, maybe I'm not gonna fight this dude. Like if someone tells you they're from like Riverside, be like, okay, maybe I'm not gonna fight this guy. Yeah, I'm from North Jersey. I'm like in the wooded area. All we do is drink beer and fight. Yeah, maybe I'm not gonna fight that dude.
Well, and you got nothing to lose. Those are the people I'm worried about. Just like they're straight up like, I have no problem going back to.
I'm from the freaking panhandle of Florida. Yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna fight that guy. I'm not gonna do that.
My meth lab just exploded last week. I have literally nothing to live for. Let's throw down. Well, there are two teams that are very unhappy. Dare I say, butthurt that the Raiders are in Southern California. ESPN reporting. The Raiders, who called Los Angeles home from 82 to 94, maintained their massive popularity in SoCal, headed to Costa Mesa, neighboring Orange County for 18 days of training camp, with veterans reporting Tuesday and breaking August 9th. Yet, because of NFL policy, the Raiders cannot promote their presence. No billboards, no newspaper ads, no radio commercials. Las Vegas media can cover camp, but no invites for LA or Orange County media. Nor will practice be open to fans, though some VIP, season ticket holder, sponsors, invited guests will be allowed. Since permanently relocating from St. Louis and San Diego, respectively, the Rams and the Chargers share territorial marketing rights to the area. The Rams and Chargers are so self-conscious that no one likes them around here, and this is still Raiders country, that they're literally not letting the Raiders invite media. Like, hey, it's the NFL. We want media covering this sport, especially in Los Angeles, where if you're not winning and you're not getting attention, like this isn't Green Bay. This isn't Cleveland. You know what I mean? Like if the Raiders, if football's not doing well, it's like, screw you. We'll watch the Dodgers. Screw you. We'll watch the Lakers. Screw you. We'll go to the beach, right? It's Southern California. Yeah. Where they're like, no. You can't even invite media. You can't pay money to a radio station to say, hey, the NFL's in town with their training camp.
Dude, they can't even have fans. It's so dumb. Look. Does it surprise you? It doesn't surprise me.
No.
It doesn't surprise me in the least. They're just so self-conscious. They're so self-conscious.
Yeah, because it's like, look, you'd think like as a whole, rising tide lifts all boats. Right? The Raiders play the Chargers twice a year, in SoFi every single year. The Raiders will play the Rams in SoFi every now and then. Do you want to have a rivalry brew or talk about that? Nope.
I mean, the Chargers
too scared that people. I also don't understand the strategy. Like, if you're already a Raider fan in Southern California, you're not going to just turn into a Rams fan. Like, that's not going to happen. And also on the flip side, if you're a Rams fan in Southern California, you're not going to see a commercial that the Raiders practice or like training camp is in Orange County, and you're like, oh, well, I'm going to switch to Raiders now. Like, I don't understand the logic to this.
What I'm saying is this. It's more of a long-term thing. Like, the practices, like, you can probably take, because you can't, if you're from LA and you're a Raider fan, you can't take your kids to Raider games because you don't have the means because it's super expensive or whatever. You can take your kids to a practice, and you can still watch them, and you can maybe get even closer than you normally would during the game. And those kids are now going to be Raider fans. So they just want to cut off, even though that's such a small sliver of the fan base that can possibly become Raider fans in the future. They want to cut it off, and they want to be the only show in town. It's just lame. I mean, look, Chargers have been doing this forever. Like, I remember when they were still in San Diego, you couldn't buy a ticket to a Raider game. You had to buy a ticket to another game too. Mm-hmm. Like, if you wanted to buy it from them, you had to buy another home game plus, then you could buy a Raider game if you bought another one. They wouldn't let you just buy Raider game tickets.
So you think they'd think of like a smart way to like mooch off of it, right? Like if like that, right? They're like, all right, like no one wants to go. We're the Chargers. No one wants to go to our games. Let's at least try to, as a business minded entity, let's try to figure out how we can get some more out of Raider fans. You think they'd think of something like that instead of just like banishing them? Just like, no, stay away. Nothing. You're not allowed.
Dude, it's like, more creative. Who watches the freaking news anymore? Like, who listens to the radio? Like, no, it's all like either streaming services or like satellite radio. That's what people listen to now, or content that they listen to. People know that the Raiders are in town. If you're a Raider fan, you know that they're in town. So what's the freaking, like, what's the holdup? What's the big deal? It just saltiness. That's all it is.
A little birdie told me that there's a good chance this is just a 1-year thing, and they head back to Napa next year. Very good chance the Raiders move training camp back to Napa.
Dude, they spent like $700,000 getting that freaking facility up. That's a lot of money to just a freaking dip.
But AP wants them to be, and it's what, 2 weeks? You know what I mean? Like, they're still
it's more than that.
Training camp? Like 2.5 weeks. They're done August 9th, right? So it's July 24th to August 9. 2.5 weeks. You had the other 330-something days of the year to use that training facility. And AP says like he wants them to be by themselves. It wants to be like summer camp, team bonding, no distractions. They're going out of town. AP wants them out of town. So whether it's Southern California, back to Napa, let's hope back to Napa so fans can actually go. And you don't have to. I bet you the Chargers and Rams will even still probably try to find a way to make it so they can advertise in Napa.
Freaking bullshit is what it is.
So a couple news and notes about training camp. Michael Gallup out. Keelan Doss in. Michael Gallup retired.
Keelan Doss signing.
Right? He was John Gruden loved him. He loved Doss. For whatever reason. He just really liked him.
Dude. Doss, whenever I had a sighting, I'm like, oh, there he is. Just because you never think to see him. He was active for like maybe a handful of games a season.
Yeah, a handful of games. He was in the Chargers for a hot minute. He was all over the place on practice squads and like off season. So he's been like picking up just enough paychecks to like kind of stay on the circuit and stay like sort of in the league. We'll see if he makes the.
If he's in his 5th year, he's good to go. He's got the pension. He's got his medical, all that stuff.
Michael Gallup retiring though, that was kind of surprising.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
He's been a really nice depth guy. Experienced guy. I wasn't expecting him to be the Michael Gallup that got 1,000 yards two or three seasons ago. 2 seasons ago. But veteran presence, and he could have adequately filled in for just about anybody, right? Like, God forbid, knock on wood, Davante goes down, Jacoby goes down. Like, he could have played inside, outside. Like, he could have filled in for anybody. Nice depth and a veteran.
Yeah, nice. We talked about it yesterday. I just think he just showed up to training camp and he was like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore.
Like, wait, I have to practice. It's 115 degrees out here in Vegas. Ugh, I got to spend 2.5 weeks in Southern California. It's like,
I knew it was only 80 in Costa Mesa. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he doesn't want to do it anymore. And I don't blame him. Like,
it kind of sounds like he just didn't show up. You know what I mean?
Probably.
It kind of sounds like he's just like, nah, I'm just not going to show up.
Well, it's like, yeah, probably like, or he was, getting ready to get on a plane, and he's like, you know what? I just don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. Like Forrest Gump, he's just like, I think I want to go home now. He stops running. And
I'm tired.
Yeah, he just wants to.
That's it.
Just turns around. Man. Just got tired and, blew out those freaking those Cortez he was running in, and that's it. Mm-hmm.
We briefly mentioned it, but rookie guard Jackson Powers Johnson on the active, physically unable to practice list. There's no major injury for Johnson. Raiders are being cautious with the shoulder injury suffered in camp. Let's hope that's true. A lot of misinformation about injuries at this point because there's no. I don't believe at this point in the league there are like league rules about injuries, where like in the season, if you falsify injury reports, there you can get fined, you can lose draft picks, stuff like that. I believe offseason the rules are a little different. But let's hope because JPJ has a history of injuries, and the shoulder one's a new one. Hopefully, it's exactly what they're saying. Just abundance of caution, no reason to rush them. It's only July. Something to keep an eye on, though.
Yeah, I think he'll be all right. I just right now, honestly, like he can get a lot done. When offensive lineman can get a lot done, like with walkthroughs and stuff like that, and watching film and just studying tape and if he's able to get back in like a week or maybe like the last week of training camp, by the last week of training camp, I think he's going to be perfectly fine.
I'd like to see those rookies in there as much as possible, though. But I'd like to see him also not get hampered by long-term injuries this early either.
Yeah, but it's not like he's like it's like Tyree Wilson where it's a lot more technique involved that he didn't have. I think he was a mauler inside, so and he's played guard before. It's not as intricate. I mean, just if you know the calls and directions and stuff, you'll be all right.
I want to see him and Christian Wilkins in a fight. So
I want to see them fight, dude.
I want to see him in a very heated 7 seconds in the pocket.
7 seconds is a long time, dude.
Yeah,
those big guys. That's a long time, man.
Because who's pulling JPJ off of Wilkins? Like it's gonna take like you need like
Miller just grabs him.
Bolton's gonna have to grab one, like another.
Max gonna grab the other.
AP's gonna have to grab another, right? Because you're gonna need when it's that size. I think about this a lot. When they're that size and they're that pissed, you need both the physicality of being able to do it and also the authority figure that's gonna have them kind of heal. You know what I mean? Like if you're equal size but you're pissed off, it's kind of hard to get that guy off. But if you're like, I'm your coach, you respect me, and you feel those hands and that voice, you're like, okay, all right, it's the coach. Okay. Like I'll pull back a little bit. But when it's just pure heat, it's just like aggression on aggression. It's like a pit bull and lockjaw.
Yeah, we had a couple guys back when I played, and they just love fighting. They were good friends, but they just love fighting. So what we had to do is we just had to like pump up the guy on our side. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, you got him, Jeff. That's it. You got him. It's over. And he'd be like, yeah, I got him. And like they kind of like, okay, yeah. And the other side was like, yeah, Matt, you got him. And they kind of like, all right.
And there's like spats where it's just like they just got pissed off in the moment because like someone got beat. You know what I mean? But then there's spats that have been brewing for a while. Like these guys have been like wanting to fight each other for like the first 7 weeks of the season, and then when they throw down, you got to let them just like fight it out.
Just let them get it out.
Get it out of the system. Let it be done. Let there be a winner and a loser. They both have to be exhausted at the end. Then you pull them out. All right. Oh, you think that's fun? Go run your laps. And like fuck, I'm never doing that again.
So there was two brothers that I played with, and one was like an outside linebacker, and one was a running back. And whenever they would like do drills, they would just annihilate each other. And we were like, dude, you're not supposed to go that hard. Like, we're just going through form right now. It's like we didn't even have pads on. It was like helmets and shorts and stuff. So our coach made them run like perimeters. And it's not like just the football field. Right? It's like the entire campus, like run around the whole campus. And they had to hold hands. He's like, hold hands. If I see you guys not holding hands, you're going to have to do another one. Like, oh shit! So they go running and holding hands. It was freaking hilarious.
I'm the oldest of 6 kids, 4 boys, and when me and my brothers would fight, there'd be a rule like you have to hug each other for 100 seconds, and you can't turn it into a wrestling match. You can't spit in each other's faces. Yeah, you just have to hug. If I see you guys flexing or like digging under hooks, like we're starting over. You guys have to just hug for 100.
Yeah, over under at both neutral position. Over under. You're probably digging your chin into him, huh?
I did not want to hold. I didn't want to hug for 1 second longer than I had to. I was like, fine, I'll take my punishment. Then once mom and dad are gone, I'm gonna fuck you up. But they're watching right now. Keep your shit together. All right. One, I would say probably the only like tidbit of news that came out of AP on Tuesday's presser. Antonio Pierce said he expects all healthy players to play in the preseason, which would be a significant change from how the team operated the last few seasons. All. Davante Adams, Colton Miller. We know all the quarterbacks are going to be playing. Kind of surprising. I do like the all healthy players, right? So if like, okay, you're a little banged up, you're staying off the field. But he wants everyone to play Soto at some point, right? At least one series, everyone's going to play.
I think it's a good idea, man. We need to get some continuity, and we need to start come out firing. Mm-hmm. We did not have a good offense last year. We had a very poor offense. And primarily, we have pretty much the same personnel as we did last year, plus a new offense, which historically it lends to maybe even if not a poor offensive season or a poorer offensive season, it can maybe lend to a slower start. And honestly, we can't with the AFC the way it is, we can't afford to have a slow start. We need to come out firing offensively. So. And defensively, I mean, try to tell those guys they can't play. Those guys on that side of the ball, those guys are wild animals. They want to get out there. But definitely on the offensive side, I want to see our guys out there, and I want to see some continuity out there for sure. Because, man, I mean, I was looking at a what the fuck's his name? What's that dude's name? Freaking he does the Ryan the analysis all the time.
FA.
Sharp,
Jake.
Warren Sharp.
Oh, okay, that was my next guess.
I bought his breakdowns, and I want to do a video on that on the Raiders. But a lot of the quarterback stuff that we're looking at, the only like silver line that I saw is like EPA per attempt. Aidan O'Connell was number 1 in the league versus pressure. That's the only thing I saw that was like, oh wow, that's encouraging. But everything else was like 18, 19 and up. And I'm like, oh my God. It's so we need these guys. We need to get these guys out there. We need these guys throwing. We need these guys getting used to each other, getting used to this new offense. It's just we don't have the firepower offensively to come back. Like AP didn't come back from 7 points down. Like if he was 7 points down, the team lost last season. So we need to make sure we hit the ground running. And one of the ways you can ensure that is to get people reps with the players that you're going to be playing with. So I know that he said AP said that he's not in a rush to name a quarterback, which I mean, yeah, I get that. You don't want to rush into anything and just pick somebody just to pick somebody. But from what I was saying a couple of weeks ago, you want your starter to get the bulk of the reps because you want him to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And if you're going to wait to name a starter, that's already a kind of a difficult thing to get past if you're the quarterback, if you're not getting all the majority of the reps.
I read that into AP. I think AP understands that. I think I'm reading that more into like, I'm not gonna give you guys an artificial timeline. I'm not gonna say like, oh well, at this, by the end of preseason game 2, I'll name a starter. Like I think that's kind of more.
That's hella late. Let me tell you, if it's at the end of the season, second preseason game, you only have 2 weeks. You have the
I'm just naming arbitrary time.
No, I'm just saying if that's the case, you got the third preseason week, you got the dead week, and then you're starting. That's only 2 weeks of taking, first team majority of first team snap. I hope it's before then. Honest, I really do.
Yeah, I'm not sweating that statement. It just sounds very AP, where it's like I'm going to decide when I want to decide. Why would I give you guys a timeline? I'm not even going to hint at a timeline. So I'm just going to say I'm going to do it when I'm ready. So as of now, I'm not worried about it. But if we start getting deep into preseason, it's like,
yeah, man.
Hopefully, it's a good reason because they're both playing so well. But that's not normally the case, right? But a lot of people pointed out like we're not having any joint practices. So, I do like the idea of having to see Gardner and Farva in preseason because I think just training camp drastically benefits Farva because you don't have to scramble, right? You're not going to get hit. You don't have to be running for your life, which is the biggest gap in skill set between the two. Gardner is a million times better of a scrambler than Farva is. And so when you're just in training camp with red jerseys and no one touches you, huge advantage Farva. Preseason, when defensive linemen are actually trying to eat your face, huge advantage Minshew. So I want to make sure that, we see that version of both, right? The most realistic version of, realistic play. I really, really wonder. Like, these are things I stay up in bed thinking. It's like, what is AP looking for in his QB1? Like, when he's trying to decide, is it going to be Aidan O'Connell, Gardner, Minshew? Is it like a strict checklist? Does he have like a numeric system where it's like at this practice, Farva gets a 7, Minshew got a 5.5, but tomorrow it's Farva got a 6 and Minshew got an 8.2. Like, is he doing that? Is it just kind of feel? Is it like, I want to know his criteria because he's not given the criteria. Like, he's given nothing to media when they ask him about that. I really want to know, is it like, because it's also AP where it could just be like, this guy just carries himself as a leader. Or is he, counting every single completion and attempt in every single practice and like doing the math on it? Like, I don't know AP well enough to like kind of know what he's looking for.
Well, he's a good mix of both, right? He was the driving force behind a lot of the change in how the team watched film at the end of towards the middle when he took over. He kind of implemented new things, and they were watching film a little bit different than with Josh McDaniels. And he's always, been known as a really smart player, really heady player, like a coach on the field type of guy. So he has that, but he does also realize that a lot of who you want out there is how the team responds, who the team responds better to. I think he's going to lean a lot on Getsy too. By what you see by this offense, who's running it better, who's improving, who's ramping up, who's the guy that's going to be maybe not week 1, but maybe week 3 or 4. Who's gonna separate if we give him that role?
He said in the press. He said in the pressers, it'll be my decision, and Telesco, Bailey, Getsy. Those are the guys that are all going to be having input. So Davante Adams was on Shannon Sharp's podcast. We played some of it from last time, but there was the Shay pod. There was something he said in that podcast that I haven't seen anyone talk about, mention, or anything. It's just kind of like he said it and no one really grasped it. So Shannon Sharp asked Davante Adams, like, who are the top five wide receivers in the NFL? And because Davante Adams, like, he couldn't just like give 5. It's like a 6-minute clip of him like going off on tangents. Like, does it count me? This is what I think of. This is like young guys and new guys. This is what I want. Like, I want guys getting better. Like, Davante's very, I don't know what the word is. Like, he's
very diplomatic in that sense.
Well, he's very deliberate. He's just like, I'm not gonna give you an arbitrary list. Like, if you're asking me for my list, this is my criteria. This is how. There's a little bit of like, he's a little self-conscious in some things too, because he's always kind of bringing himself, comparing himself, chip on his shoulder, right? But he also said this during this conversation. No one picked it up, but this should be huge news. Take a listen.
Because it's too many dudes, man. It's not like when I came in the league, you had the same top 3 guys was like the ones that get talked about. And now it's such a passing game, and these dudes is taking whatever they taking before they start getting tested, and they stay in their system forever, and they just turn into superheroes early on. Where you got
Did he just accuse all the wide receivers in the NFL of taking steroids?
He's accused quite a bit of them.
I don't get, because again, the more I get to know Davante and like listen to all of his interviews and like as a Raider fan, right? He's a Raider, so I pay 1,000 times more attention to him now than I did when he was in Green Bay. But he's got a a chip on his shoulder that served him well. But there's, 90% of that is what's driven him, like how he can name every single wide receiver drafted before him, and it's driven him to be well. There's 10% of it that's kind of self-conscious and kind of like might hold him back. And he's just kind of like, well, there's no way these guys can keep up with me unless they were on steroids. Kind of like gives that little vibe to it.
I don't know, man. I mean, Shannon Sharp didn't really, say anything to that. I know Shannon knows what's going on. And he didn't say he didn't refute any of that.
Well, what are the odds? What are the odds Shannon went through his entire NFL career?
No, for sure, dude. He was huge. So there's no way. But look, he laughed because he knows that Davante is telling the truth.
Yeah.
But he can't hop on and say, "Oh yeah, there's a lot of guys." No, he doesn't want to start that fire, right?
I just want to know what Davante meant, because he was like, it was very arbitrary. He's like, guys.
He meant exactly what you said he did.
No. But how? Does he mean like older players are hanging on because they were on PEDs? Or is it the new guys coming in are hopped up on the good stuff before they were tested and now they're doing PEDs? Don't work that way. You have to cycle them and use them and maintain them. You don't just like, I take DECA in college and it's going to stay with me for 20 years.
I don't think any of these guys are taking DECA. These guys aren't like freaking meatheads. But
I'm using an example: HGH, TRT, whatever.
There's. I'm sure there's things out there that we have no clue. And I think you and I have a good finger on the pulse of what's out there. And I mean, there's might be some stuff out there that we have no clue. But cool thing is though, when I was in TJ. I saw the cream stuff, like the freaking Balco Lab shit, the cream. Mm-hmm. I saw some. I should have bought it.
The HGH is the cream, right?
Yeah. You put on your delts, put on your shoulders.
I mean, I'll get on TRT eventually. Like once you start getting olher, it's just the look.
Yeah, dude, I'm 46 years old, bro. I need that shit. I'm not
on the guys I know are on that stuff. But it seems just kind of like, look, if you're gonna. I just hate just the arbitrary, well, they're all on steroids, and that's why they're good.
Well, he didn't say all. He said some of these guys.
I just hate how he worded it. Take a listen.
Because it's too many dudes, man. It's not like when I came in the league, you had the same top 3 guys was like the ones that get talked about. And now it's such a passing game, and these dudes is taking whatever they taking before they start getting tested, and they stay in their system forever, and they just turn into superheroes early on. Where you got
Yeah, he didn't say everybody.
So it sounds like guys were taking it in college. If I'm translating this correctly, guys were taking it in college, so they come into the league better than they should be, and it just stays with them because they're not.
No, he didn't say that. He said for however long it stays with them.
He said stays with them forever.
Did he?
Because it's too many dudes, man. It's not like when I came in the league, you had the same top 3 guys was like the ones that get talked about. And now it's such a passing game, and these dudes is taking whatever they taking before they start getting tested, and they stay in their system forever, and they just turn into superheroes early on. Where you got
stays in their system forever.
I mean, I think he was just a choice of words. But then he said they turn to superheroes early on.
And it stays in their system forever. So, this is the thing is, look, if you're going to accuse someone or people of steroids, just say it, right? He's just like, he's talking about something, goes on this tangent.
You can't do that.
Well, why not? They do it in MMA all the time.
Come down on him, dude.
Then don't say anything, right?
No,
it's like,
no, I think you're making too much of this. I understand what you're saying, but I also understand what he's saying. He's saying what he can.
I want this to be an excuse, but I don't want my fingerprints on this excuse.
What excuse? He's still one of the highest producing receivers out there with the freaking.
Then why is he complaining?
And freaking slack jaws he had out there for throwing the ball last year.
Then why is he complaining about no name, like not giving names of wide receivers who took steroids in college and now they're going to forever have an advantage? You know what I'm saying? It's like that 10%.
Have an advantage. You're taking the words literal, and he's not saying it literally. He means forever, as in for however long the stuff they're taking stays in their system.
Okay. 6 weeks is the actual answer to that question, but he's making it sound like, well, he did in college, So now they're
and that's why he said early on. That's why he said
forever.
early in the season, these guys are playing off their ass, and then for however long it lasts.
Davante, just take steroids. Just do it.
They should all be able to take steroids.
Yeah, dude.
It's not like fighting, It's
NFL drug testing is a joke. They said, so I come from like the UFC world. We had the strictest drug testing in all of pro sports, no question about it. UFC during the USADA era. Now they've switched to who does their drug testing in 2024, but for a decade before that, the UFC had the strictest drug testing in all of pro sports, harder than NFL, MLB, basketball, fucking chess, whatever. Like the strictest. USADA. They would come to your house randomly, 6 a.m, piss in this cup. I need your blood work. I'm gonna watch you pee. Like if you're not here, I'm gonna go to wherever you're at. And you're gonna like leave your daughter's birthday party or whatever the hell. Like do this. You had like an app that would track your whereabouts. So they're like, oh, I'm on vacation in Miami. They'll go to Miami because they have your whereabouts. Like the strictest in all of sports, right? You compare, and guys still beat the system. Guys still cheated it all the time. The NFL, where it's like, this is when we're going to test you. This is how we're going to test you. This is what we're going to test you for. In an era before USADA, they called it the IQ test because you'd only get popped in the UFC by the athletic commissions, and they only tested you right before you fought and right after. You knew when, how, what they were testing for. And guys still popped because they were idiots, right? In the NFL, if you're as smart as Davante Adams, you 1,000,000% could get juiced up on whatever you want and beat the system.
Oh, yeah.
Take it.
Just do it. Just let them do it, NFL.
Just be faster. Just be stronger. Score some touchdowns for us, baby. I love steroids on my team.
Let them do it.
Just do it. So Josh Jacobs was on the Chris Long podcast about 3-4 weeks ago, and we didn't hit it. I don't know why. I think there's either a lot of big news or something was happening where we didn't address what he talked about, but it started retrending again for whatever reason. Training camp started. I don't know why, but Josh Jacobs' comments are starting to trend again. I really like Chris Long. He's grown on me ever since he retired. I think he's a pretty well thought out guy. I like his interviews. I kind of like his views on stuff. He's very self-aware, which is hard for a world-famous professional athlete to be. Anyway, good interview with Josh Jacobs, and he said a couple things. Chris Long was asking about, Las Vegas. It was more he was asking about like, running backs, they're not getting the contracts that they were anymore. Is the position being devalued? And it kind of spun Jacobs into this direction.
I mean, like, and that went in part into like me leaving too, and I told him, I'm like, man, coming from Alabama, like I went to championship every year I was there. Like, you feel me? Like every year. Like I remember coming to the league and losing my first game, and I was mad, not talking to nobody, and a vet come up to me and like, this the NFL, like you gonna lose. I'm like, so y'all cool with losing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was so different.
That was the first part. Here's the second part.
That was one thing. Like, and then the most frustrating thing about it all, I feel like, especially when you got like me, Tay and Max, and you got guys that come in every day and work hard, and you don't get the results. And then it gets to the point where like, okay, I'm working hard and I'm doing every little detail, every little step, and I'm still not getting the results. So like, I didn't have the answers.
Yeah.
And that's the part that was the most frustrating. It's like, okay, you do everything that you asked of, but you still don't get the result that you want, and or this or that. And it's like you be close, but every year you close, but it's not, it's not winning.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for me too, man. I'm like, man, y'all want me to come back on a discount and lose? Like, I don't know how I feel about that.
So when I didn't actually listen to the podcast when it came out weeks ago, I just listened to the full thing today. And weeks ago, when I was reading like transcripts, just seeing clips, I was like, fuck Josh Jacobs. Shitting on the Raiders, shitting on his teammates, bailing. It's like, all right, fine, go get your money. Good riddance. Get out of here. But then I listened to the whole interview. And I honestly understand 80% of where Josh Jacobs is coming from. He's talking as a rookie. We lose a game, and he'd be pissed. That's what I want. I want you to be furious that the team lost. And he goes to a veteran. Veteran's like, it's the NFL. You're going to lose. And he's just like,
wait a second. We don't know how he said it.
The way Josh Jacobs interpreted it. And you're right. I don't know what they said. But he interpreted that this veteran was like, welcome to the NFL. You're going to lose. Which, maybe was a learning experience. Like, yeah, you're going to have to learn to overcome losses because you're not in Alabama anymore. Like you're in the NFL where the best teams lose,
Yeah.
With the Chiefs record, right?
Ain't no salary cap in Alabama.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, no, the PED testing in Alabama is not what it is in the NFL, right?
I haven't quite caught up yet.
So it could have been that, but I do understand Josh Jacobs being like, I hate losing. I don't want to lose. This is a bad feeling. This sucks. I don't want anyone to be okay with it. I get where he's coming from. And then on the second clip, when he's saying like, we've got like a handful of like hardest workers, best guys, Max Crosby, Davante Adams, me, and we can't do shit. Like something's broken. Something's wrong. This isn't correct. I'm so frustrated that I'm busting my ass all the time and being one of the best players on the Raiders for the last 4 or 5 seasons. And it's not turning into playoff wins or even, 2 playoff appearances. And it's just not working. And so I understand all that. Like he kind of sounds like a fan. How the fuck are we losing? We have Davante Adams, Max Crosby, Josh Jacobs. How is this? Like, why is this happening? I'm pissed off. I'm frustrated. Now, moving forward, it's like, well, welcome to team sports. Like you can do everything right, and maybe the team's not going to achieve. You need to be able to just keep working harder, raise the level of your teammates, be able to handle that, etc. Right? So, and then he talked about like, and again, you want me to lose on a discount? And it's like, well, if you just wanted more money, so don't pretend like.
Yeah, it wasn't like you took a discount to go to Green Bay because they're a better franchise.
You went to the place with more money.
Yeah,
well,
you got more money. Shut the fuck up.
Whatever. Fine. Like you went for more money. I can't hit you on it. Whatever.
That right there makes me say, shut the fuck up, Josh Jacobs, and go play with the Packers. Just stop.
I was 80% on his side for the entire clips until the last 3 seconds.
Yeah, until he fucking lied. Like, dude,
I'm going to take a discount to lose. It's like, no, you took the most money.
You went to the place that gave you the most money, and that's fine. But don't try to play it like it's some it's what it isn't. Okay, don't play like, I would have stayed if we had a chance to win. If I felt I would have stayed for. Get out of here. Get out of here. Just go away. You know,
if the worst team in football offered you that money, that's where you would have went. If the Bears or Patriots or what
over this stupid shit,
any shitty team that offered you that money,
once that fool retires, I'll thank him for what he did for the Raiders. But he's been talking a lot of shit ever since he took off. So you know what? Go do your thing. Go do your thing. Just go away. Go away.
I understood with context 80% where he was coming from. But like in typical Josh Jacobs form, it's like one tweet, one comment, like something at the end. And you're just like, I was almost on your side, bro.
He's like a junior high tween girl, dude. Like, stop already.
Yeah. That Raiders tattoo, that silver and black, is going to be on him forever.
Whatever, dude.
Have fun in that locker room.
Get it burned off.
Packers locker room. It's going to be on you.
If it's that bad, get that shit burned off. If your time here was that bad.
To Josh Jacobs' point, ESPN did a ranking of all 32 NFL teams on their future, how they're going to do the next 3 seasons, because it's ESPN and they come up with whatever crazy ranking they can think of. And 99% of these rankings we don't really pay attention to unless the Raiders are first or last. Take a wild guess where the Raiders ranked in this poll. Dead last. Future of the next 3 seasons. So it's important to look at the so let's see what the criteria is. Criteria: quarterback situation, remaining roster, non-quarterback roster makeup, front office and coaching staff. So they've kind of got us in quarterback situation. we're pretty much the only team in the NFL with an actual quarterback competition, right? It's either like every other team either has a guy, or they've got a rookie that they're just kind of waiting for him to be ready. Whatever, right? We're the only real team that's like, we don't know who's going to start. There's no hierarchy. Let's just see who's better, right? So kind of got us there. On paper, I think in real life, I think our quarterback situation is better than the rest of the league looks at it. On paper, it looks pretty awful. Remaining roster. We got a pretty good remaining roster. Pretty damn good. One of the best D-lines in football. We've got one of the best wide receivers in football. We've got a defense that's playing spectacular with no giant weak holes, minus we don't really have one outside corner. Other than that, everyone's pretty solid on defense. There's no dog shit guys. Front office. The Raiders have a history of a bad front office. Tom Telesco coming in should projectile us up way up there. Right? I think he's a very respected general manager. He should bump that up. Coaching staff. In fairness, AP, rookie head coach, probably going to be ranked very, very low on most rankings. Rookie head coaches are, right? Going to be low. Rest of the staff's pretty good. Patrick Graham's one of the best defensive coordinators in football. I don't know. What do you make of that? What do you make of our ranking and our criteria?
There's just too many question marks.
Mm-hmm.
There's too many question marks. There's too many things that we haven't seen, or we've seen enough to make a decision. Like a lot of these teams that have the rookie quarterbacks coming in, there's a lot of promise there because we haven't seen these guys play in the NFL yet. Mm. We saw Aidan O'Connell play in the NFL last season. Wasn't great. I mean, it wasn't even really.
Below average.
It wasn't even good. It was below average. It was below average. I thought that's how he played. One of the stats that really jumped out at me when I was reading that report yesterday was we had the most percentage of third down plays in the league.
Most percentage of third down plays, or just the most third down plays?
No, we had the most percentage of third down plays because we went a lot of 3 and outs, but we had the highest percentage of total plays that were third down. So we hit third down, and so basically we didn't get first downs on first and second down more than any other team percentage wise. We played for a third and short. That's how we played last year. And was it because of the offense? We didn't have a real offensive coordinator at the end of the season. Was it because
or at the beginning of the season?
Like, it's what went into that? But the problem is we don't know. We don't know. We have a journeyman guy who's been into a lot of places, has never been the guy anywhere he's gone. He played below average last season. Look, the way these guys played last year, these guys were the same guy. And I think that's how the NFL is looking. Like that's going to be the theme around the video that I put out. It's going to be, why does the NFL media hate the Raiders? And I'm going to say these are the reasons why. The biggest reason is, best case scenario, they have a below average quarterback because both of these guys are basically the same. They perform basically the same last season. On top of that, you have an aging superstar wide receiver who's already shown that he was disgruntled. How long does that until that happens again? You can say a lot of good things, but if stuff doesn't go right away, how is that going to go? You have a defense that played really well, but played 7 backup quarterbacks, in the 9 games that they played last season. Like, it's a lot of these things went into account for these projections. I can understand why we're in last place. As far as the NFL goes, we don't have a guy at quarterback, or we don't have a guy that has the promise to be one of those top guys. We don't. Unless these guys just show something that they haven't shown yet. We have game manager type guys. And you can win with those guys, but your rest of your roster better be really good. And how good does this wide receiver core look if you take away Davante Adams? Because how long is Davante Adams going to be Davante Adams? So when you look at 3 seasons down the road, it makes sense. It's too many question marks. How is Telesco going to work in this environment? Who knows? AP, yeah. I mean, we're sucking his dick for going 5-4.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, that's okay. You're slightly over 5, like, slightly above average. Like, come on, like we have to be real here, and we have to have real expectations as far as what we want out of this team. And right now, there are too many question marks. There's question marks at head coach. How is it going to react? You said that the coaching staff is great, and you mentioned one guy. What about our offensive coordinator? Unproven dude. Again, a lot of question marks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I feel that we have the potential to be pretty good this season, right away. But I think there's an equal likelihood that we don't do well at all.
Overall roster minus quarterback, they have us ranked 31st. That doesn't sound right at all. Is there only one roster worse than ours minus quarterback? I don't know.
Panthers?
Panthers?
Broncos, maybe?
Saints? Patriots?
No, I think Saints are better. A lot of question marks, man. A lot of question marks. I don't agree with 31st, but there's a lot of guys on this team with a lot to prove.
Front office 28. I mean, the Raiders have had a pretty rough front office. I think also it's historically too, right? I think so many people in the media think of Raiders and just go, all right, yeah, front office is in shambles, constant turnover.
The last time we had an actual GM was Reggie McKenzie. Mm-hmm. And even he learned on the job. He was a first-time GM when we got him.
Yeah.
So we haven't had a Telesco type guy who was an NFL guy who has been through the wars and been through the fires. You know, you get John Gruden, who he didn't even make personnel decisions when he was here the first time, coming here and blowing the whole thing up. Then you got Mayock the year after coming in. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. And then you have Ziegler coming in, never done the job before. Mm-hmm. Pretty much, he freaking bent over backwards for your boy JMD. And it's like, come on, dude. Like, what the fuck? So now we finally have a guy who's been a GM before, and we still can't get out of the high 20s. It's some bias. I get it. But if you take a look at the most important positions in the NFL, the receiver's aging. Okay, he's excellent. Don't get me wrong, but we're not talking just this year. We're talking 3 years down the road. Mm-hmm. When you look at 3 years down the road at a 34, 35-year-old Davante Adams, is he still going to be an elite player at the tip top of his game? Probably not. On top of that, you have a wide open quarterback, group who's going to be the quarterback. Who knows? The quarterback could still be in college right now. Mm-hmm. So you have no idea because it's uncertain. At least like the other teams, like the Chicago's and the Commanders and the Patriots, and even the Broncos and the Vikings and all that, they have a plan of who their guy's going to be in a few years. We don't have that because our guys are just, the same guy, production-wise, and even that is not great.
Well, I also think like these are like, in general, well-run franchises that we're talking about, right? Like the Broncos, won a Super Bowl not that long ago. Patriots, very good owner, front office. Like, I think these are franchises where ESPN's like, okay, these guys have built success before. Like this is a front office and a regime.
The Bears are a mess. The Commanders are a freaking mess. Look what the Falcons did.
I'm talking like guys that we could have not been 32 against, right? Okay. Patriots, Broncos, things like that. I think they're also looking at, historically of the franchise. Who can you count on to turn things around in 3 years? Like, where is the foundation there to turn things around? I think I'm with you, though. I think like Telesco, I think that was the best offseason move the Raiders made. It's Telesco. I think better than any draft pick, better than AP. I think, was he 12 years with the Chargers? Like, he was
10 as a GM.
10 as GM. They're 12 something years.
He was there for like 12, 13 years.
He's had his giant swings and misses. JC Jackson, like, no question about it. Every GM has had some giant swings.
It happens to everybody.
Missed a first round pick, blah, blah, blah. The Chargers roster has always been good. For 20 years, the roster has been good. The coaching's been, thank God the coaching's been shit and just like dragged everybody down. But Telesco built championship rosters.
Yeah, when you can only pay your coaches so much, there's only so many guys you can get. Mm-hmm. And before little Jimmy Harbaugh got hired over there, Chargers really weren't that big on paying their head coaches.
Ready to do some What Up Windbags?
Yeah, man. Let's go ahead and do it.
Sam Demand, thank you so much for
being on every fucking week.
He's always commenting with some zingers, and also he's going to keep giving you compliments. I'm going to keep putting them in. Sam Demand, Soto looking thinner. Looks like a couple neck sizes smaller. The neck is the most underrated way to tell if some guy's gaining or losing weight. Take a look at the neck, because you can get the fitted shirt that can hide some of the gut. You keep it untucked. A little tighter up top, looser in the bottom, right? So, you wear a little baggier pants.
Just push the bottom out.
There's so many moves you can do. The neck you can't hide. When the neck's looking through, you're like, okay. You doing anything special, Soto? Just picking up a coke habit? What are you doing?
Yeah, just doing a little meth. No, the thing is, I wake up early every day and I go to the gym to work out before I go to work. And then I go to work at a gym after work. So I'm always working out. It's just
but you don't do shit at Spider Muay Thai, exercise wise.
No, I'm saying I go to the gym to work.
Yeah,
I don't go to the gym and work out at the gym.
You burn calories through osmosis.
Yeah, I just watch people do it. I'm like, man, that's making me hot. No, but I do work out in the morning. I work out at the gym in the mornings, but not until recently I started doing a more like lower carb type of diet. More of a keto style, and it's always worked for me. Whenever I've like gotten on it, and I just get lazy, dude. I just get lazy, honestly, because I'm so goddamn handsome. Like even if I'm bigger, I still pull chicks. So it's like, I don't really have a.
You're just leaving enough pussy for the rest of us. That's the only reason you're fat.
Honestly, I don't really like to try either. If we're being completely honest, I don't really like to put a lot of work in. Which is why there's a lot for the rest of you. But yeah, I've been a little bit more conscious about what I'm eating and when I eat.
Thank God, because if you tried, there would be no pussy left for the rest of us, Soto.
Oh, there were a couple of nights. There were a couple of nights at the old Crowbar where I got turned on me.
Wes Williams, 84-84. Good show, fellas, but I don't agree with Davante Adams' decline. Because based on the data, you have 4 different variables with the quarterbacks, and does the data factor in injury? Great show, fellas. Well, we brought up some data, like obviously, clearly, there were external factors that led to Davante Adams being lower in production. And by lower in production, he still had over 1,000 yards receiving and 8 touchdowns. Like by Davante Adams standards, not a good season. 95% of NFL receivers would love a season like that, but it's Davante, so the standards are much higher, as they should be, because that's how good he is, and we're paying him to be better than that. So clearly, the stink of Josh McDaniels, firing the coach halfway, 3 different quarterbacks, none of them good. All things that are going to hurt Davante Adams, clearly. But with the other data and things like separation, drop rate, winning 50-50 balls, all those numbers went down too. In fairness, when things go to shit in your life, in your job, on your team, that does bleed into stuff. You know what I mean? Like if you are frustrated because everything's going wrong, your concentration may not be there for passes. It's not an excuse, mind you. Davante, again, you're getting paid $20 million and you need to still be catching these balls. It's not an excuse, but it can be true that, okay, maybe those things kind of bleed into it. Yeah. I still think we're seeing his decline.
There's one thing that really jumped out at me. I think out of the 40-something qualified wide receivers, he averaged the lowest number of yards per route on go routes last season in the NFL. That's not Davante Adams-esque. He just wasn't getting the ball because they weren't pushing the ball down the field. And when they were, you get games like the Lions when he just gets a bad ball thrown to him. And, you know, there's this one jumped out at me too. So Davante Adams ran 127 go routes last season. The throw was deemed an inaccurate throw 63% of the time that they threw to him. That's how bad the quarterback play was. Now, that's not all Jimmy Garoppolo and all Brian Hoyer, okay? That's just what happened last season. So they didn't go deep to him to get him those stats that he normally gets. But even when they did, well more than half the time, it was an inaccurate throw. And that doesn't you know, even factor in drops, you know,
good coverage,
batted down, good coverage, stuff like that. That doesn't account to any of that. So there was a lot of factors, like he's saying, there's a lot of factors that went into his season not being as good. I think listening to the press conferences earlier today, he is so locked into this offense. He knows everything inside and out. I think whoever the quarterback is, I really do think it's going to be Aidan O'Connell, because I think Davante likes him, and what Davante says, it's probably going to go. If we're just being completely honest, I just think that's what's going to happen. Whoever Davante likes is going to start, because I think Luke Getsy has enough faith in Davante Adams for him to identify who the better quarterback is in the system that's being run, because he knows it like the back of his hand. So he can talk to, and he even said in the press conference, a lot of the stuff that him and Aaron worked on was just talking through things, talking through film, not have to be on the doing on the field together. So yeah, if he could communicate, like, hey, in this offense, you can throw the ball to me. If you don't have double covered, it's okay. You can throw it to me here, and it's going to be fine. So just throw it to me here on this route, even if I'm covered, or if they play me this way, if they bracket me like this, you can still get the ball to me here, and I'll be fine. So it's pointing up. Still, you still have a couple of guys who have shown you below average output throwing him the ball, but it does seem to have a kind of an upward trend if the receiver has this tight of a grasp of the offense.
Daniel M 3434. I definitely don't blame Davante Adams for saying out loud what we were all saying last year. Jimmy G couldn't hit his face on the floor if he fell straight forward. He was getting dudes killed. I forgot how bad Jimmy G was last season.
I
almost forgot.
Jacoby Myers killed a few times.
The Netflix wide receiver series kind of reminded me. I was just like, oh yeah, I almost forgot how bad Jimmy G was. Just floating balls, getting
that
dudes
first
just
game. He
up.
Got Davante drilled twice. He got Jacoby Myers drilled twice. One time got taken out of the game. He got knocked out, where he didn't play against the Bills. I mean,
he just loves to float a ball, man. Jimmy G just loves to float, and he's a big dude. You're like, your arm is big, like you're broad shoulders, like you shouldn't have. He's never just. It was so weird how he never set his feet. He never watch every throw he makes. He's like fluttering his feet. He's like trying to float in the air.
Well, that's why he's the backup with the Rams. He's the Rams problem now. It's so funny. It's so funny. One of my cousins is a Rams fan, and he's like, "Oh yeah," because I was talking to him like, "Hey man, you guys better do right by Stafford and give him some money," which they did today actually, because if he wants to hold out or he doesn't play or whatever, you guys are gonna have Jimmy G. He's like, "Oh no, Jimmy G's solid." I'm like, dude. When he was with the Niners, you were killing him of how bad he was, and now he's your backup. So good luck with that.
Maybe whatever steroids Jimmy G got pinched for, he can give to Davante Adams. Davante can get on a level playing field with all these.
It's all about sharing, man. Sharing is caring.
All right, boys, we are officially in training camp season. We're going to have a lot more to talk about next week. We'll also give you the news as the week goes on. If anything giant breaks, we'll do a video. I will be overseas next show, so hopefully internet's working and not detained at the border.
You better download those scenes now.
Oh, that's a real thing. That's a real thing in Abu Dhabi.
You have to. You have to get your top 5 scenes downloaded on the phone.
I was so desperate. I didn't get a VPN working, and I didn't download anything before. I was going through Twitter, like just going to porn stars' Twitters, hoping they would have like a 60-second scene or something.
So bad. Just on loop.
It's like in middle school when you like find one like 7-year-old Playboy and you just like, my precious.
Dude, that's Sears catalog.
Hang on to that thing.
Clutch.
Dude, you're telling me. Well, until then, knock on wood if you're with me. Hey, you made it to the end of our video. Great job. I know you want more. Go ahead and click the next video. And if you're feeling crazy, go ahead and subscribe.